Hi, Paul Pugliese with the University of Georgia here. Today we're at Rose Lawn Museum in Cartersville, Georgia, next to a busy street, so I apologize for the traffic here. But today we're going to look at a Japanese maple that has an interesting problem. If you look at the original type of Japanese maple here, this is looks like a blood good Japanese maple that has a dark red, purplish leaf color. It will retain that color all year long. But if you look down beside me, next to the base of this tree, we have some root suckers that are coming out. And if you look at it very closely, it's a totally different color. It has a lighter green color to the leaves, a slightly different leaf shape, coming out of the same tree. And so this is a question that we get a lot of calls about. Sometimes people will let these suckers grow, and it'll look like you have two different types of trees growing in the same spot, which is really weird, right? And so this is something that is actually a very common problem, and it has to do with how this tree was propagated at the nursery. In fact, a lot of our ornamental trees and even fruit trees are grafted. And the reason why we graft them is to get a certain characteristic. We take a cutting from a branch just like this, and we'll want to grow that out to replicate certain traits. There's certain traits that we like to clone in this case. It could be a certain leaf color, maybe a type of Japanese maple that's a weeping form Japanese maple. Some are more compact as far as the growth and slower growing or dwarf type cultivars. And so those are characteristics that we like to have, especially for ornamental characteristics in a landscape. In fruit trees, of course, we do the same thing. We graft certain fruit trees. For example, like a Red Delicious apple. Every Red Delicious that you buy at the grocery store is a clone from a cutting of the original Red Delicious apple tree. And so they're all genetically identical. And to do that, one of the best ways to clone that tree is to graft it or take a cutting and graft it onto a rootstock of another tree in the same family. And so we're taking another Japanese maple in this case that's maybe a little bit more vigorous as far as the root system, and it's going to, basically take that cutting, we call that the scion cutting, and we're going to graft that and piece it together, and it will heal right at that graft wound and form a new tree basically. So sometimes things will go wrong with that graft that occurs. They're not always 100% compatible. Again, some may grow faster than others depending on the rootstock or the seedling that was used for the rootstock. And so just like an organ transplant, sometimes you get a rejection of that transplant. And so things can go wrong. And in some cases, a sign of that maybe going wrong is these root suckers that start coming out near the base. Another thing that we see sometimes is lawn mowers might come in and, if you get too close to the base of this tree, you might injure it or cut it with a lawnmower or a weed trimmer, and that wound is enough to initiate buds, and sometimes you'll get some sprouts or water sprouts that'll come out as a result of that. So again, it could be an indication of a wound that occurred, okay? So these are all things that may be a symptom of another type of problem, but it has a fairly easy fix. Obviously, we don't want to let this go too long. If this continues to grow, it's going to take over, and you're going to have a weird looking tree with two different colors of leaves. In the case of a fruit tree, we would actually get a whole different fruit tree that may not have a desirable fruit that we like. And so, you may have a Red Delicious apple tree with something else on the bottom, maybe a Granny Smith or something entirely different. So again, you want to get rid of these root suckers. Whenever you see these, the sooner you can catch it, the better. Come in and prune those as close to the stem as possible and get rid of those suckers. We'll clean this up a little bit. And when we do that, we've now kept this tree, the original form of this tree. And there's a bunch of little suckers trying to come out here, so we want to get rid of all those and clean it up really good. And we've now fixed our problem here. It's really that easy. Again, you don't want to let it go too long because it could actually kill the original tree or outgrow it and outcompete it. So that's something you want to catch early. And again, the most important thing is to avoid wounding that tree or causing any damage. Don't bump the trunk of that tree, especially below the graft union. You don't want to hit that with a weed eater or a lawnmower. Make sure you have plenty of mulch around that tree to protect it from any injuries like that. And again, if the top ever happens to die on the tree, sometimes that happens and the rootstock is still alive, you don't want to keep that rootstock. It's probably not going to be something you want to keep. It's going to be a totally different type of Japanese maple or whatever tree it is that we're looking at in that situation. So if you have any other questions about your trees and your landscape or this type of an issue, feel free to call your local county extension office at 1-800-ASK-UGA1 or go to our website at ugaextension.com and continue to follow us on the Georgia Farm Monitor.